Situated on the border between Canada and the United States is a really interesting library. It's the Haskell Free Library and Opera House. And it's interesting because it actually is on the border intentionally so that the line between the two countries runs right down the middle of the library. Now, to get to it from the United States, you can just walk across and walk right into it. But if you're in Canada, you have to actually go through what amounts to a border crossing. Though there are no Border Patrol agents checking ID, you just have to walk along a specific sidewalk and then pass in to go into the library. Now, the interesting part here is that the Border Patrol agents on either side can ask for identification if you're standing near the border and can ask you questions about what you're doing and how long you're going to stay. So it's kind of a weird thing that happens there. And if you do decide to cross across from Canada to the United States, be sure and bring your passport because Border Patrol agents are on site pretty regularly to ask questions about your status. If you came from the United States, you can go right back into the United States by just exiting the library and going about your day, and you can cross the street and do whatever else you want. But if you came from Canada, you can only exit going back down around that same pathway that you came from and go back into Canada. And that's the tricky part. If you want to go into the United States or go across the street to see the library from the other side, you have to actually go through a border crossing. And the way to do that is about 2 blocks over. There's a border crossing where you can go into Derby, Vermont, and actually cross over and go past a Border Patrol agent and talk to them for a moment, and they'll let you into the country. Now, we were there, and the Border Patrol agent asked us a couple of questions, including, what are you doing here in the Eastern Townships? There's more to do in Vermont. You should have just stayed here. I found that to be kind of interesting. So we went across the street, we took a couple of pictures, we looked at it from across the street, and then we went back through the Canadian side to go back into Canada because we had parked our car there because we were staying in the Eastern Townships. And the Border Patrol agent was kind of funny. He remarked to us, look, I didn't know if you were going to stop for me. I thought I'd have to call the RCMP to chase after you. And then looked at our passports for a minute and said, so I was going to ask how long you were in the United States, but I saw you cross by about 5 minutes ago, so I'm going to let that question go. And that was it. We went through and actually made it back into Canada, and that was our day. This was a really fun thing to do, to cross across into this really cool library just because it's half in the United States, half in Canada, and then make our way around to the Border Patrol crossing where we could actually go back into the United States and come back into Canada. I highly recommend it if you ever have a chance and are up that way by Stansted, Quebec, or Derby, Vermont.